I mean, what's 1 minute? You know,
Hey, we're
if
Africans.
if the
We
guest
we
was on Western time, I must
we
respect
do it
that.
when we are ready. So if it is 1 minute before, we are ready.
Oh, it's so perfect. It's so perfect.
Uh, mhm.
Um,
Thank you for having me, Ntiki. I should say that. Thank you for
thank
having me.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I'm taking a little while to introduce you, because
Oh, don't do that whole big spiel. I'm a fellow African warrior woman. That's it.
Nah, but what I actually wanted to say, because I no, I wasn't gonna do any of the fake stuff, I promise.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I was gonna say that I'm hanging out with Nduku, Musyimi-Mulumba.
Ah, go ahead.
And
Go ahead.
what I wanted to say was that, it's wild because because our surnames and our names are not familiar to each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now suddenly I'm put in a position where I understand what white people meant when
Mm-hmm.
they said I can't pronounce your name. And then we were saying that's racist.
Mm-hmm.
And then but now it gets challenged
Not
because we're
understanding the linguistics of it,
all right.
that they don't have the wiring to think how to pronounce that the way we do.
Well, what about the fact that no, you could if I gave you some really deep Xhosa names or words,
But that's the thing. You have been trained in Xhosa linguistics, so you don't have as much as we are Bantu, because you probably will do better than the white person because you have that Bantu training. Like you,
yes, I'll do a bit better. Yes,
a
that is
hundred
true.
percent. But they
That's true.
have their Germanic, Latin. They have no
Yes.
idea.
So then maybe it's not necessarily racist. It's just that they can't say it.
But the racism comes in because they don't make the effort to learn it. We make an effort to learn it. That's where the racism comes in. It's like, oh, but you're an inferior. Why should I care? Why don't you just get a name in my language so that it's easy for me to pronounce? That's the racism.
Imagine naming someone, right? Which
Yeah.
oh no, actually you'll be John. You will be how rude
Chinese
is that?
Chinese Chinese people come here. They tell you they're Mary. I'm like, you're not Mary. What is your Chinese name? And then they tell you their name, but they go by Mary to fit in.
But what is it? What are let's talk about these fitting in
That's white supremacy.
politics,
That's white
right?
supremacy. Yeah,
So
it's
break
white
it down
supremacy.
for us. I mean, we invited you because we want to hear your thoughts.
It's white supremacy. Wait, we are live already?
We love it. I told you, babe.
I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't say anything shady.
I
I'm
told
like,
you, boo.
hold up. I see like 3 minutes 17 we'll be talking.
I
All
told
right.
you, boo. I
Yes,
was
yes.
like, oh, the guest is an hour, a minute early. We gotta go in.
I'm glad I'm grounded in the way of Ubuntu. Listen, so it's white supremacy, right?
Yeah.
They think that everything rotates around them. They think the world rotates around them, and everyone needs to fit into their system. They never think, and even when they go to learn about other cultures, it's about there's just some weirdnesses in it. We're talking now about the academics who go and write books, right? Is I'm going to write a book to get these credentials in my school or something. It's never, I want to understand these people to get along with them. I want to understand these people to be in humanity with them. It's never driven by that. So I think that whole I can't pronounce your name or you need to make it easy for me is rotates around white supremacy. Yeah. And like I said, the Chinese, you see it, it's not just us. Chinese people in the US come and they have a name like Lucy, Mary, and you're like, that's not your name. I know that's not your name. And then they tell you their name and it has
What
depth and meaning.
mm,
Yeah.
what about this navigating the world with this? I mean, it's almost an identity complex then.
Mm, mm.
Wouldn't it, right?
Yeah, which is why Fella calls it zombie. We all have seriously, when you think about it, the zombie is a human being who's been bitten and has an infection, a virus, right? So the virus is controlling them. The virus in us is white supremacy, and it's controlling us. It's controlling everything we do. And therefore we are not, which is why it's very, when we speak with Mama Kanyisile, she emphasizes we need to return back to African spirituality. That is literally getting rid of the virus. You cannot be in African spirituality and not be Afrocentric, right? To be Afrocentric is you being the zombie who has gotten the cure, and you take away the virus. So we're, a lot of us are operating under the virus. Oh, you have people you tell, again, going to the question, like, why should we wait for liberation? The other day I was having a conversation with someone. I said, we have to get rid of capitalism. They're like, Rome was not built in a day. This is an African. Rome was not. What if Africans are going to start the first saying that says Africa was built in one day? What if? Like, why can't we envision that? Huh? Why should we sit and say these things take time? Your liberation takes time. You truly want to be in oppression for time? Like, how do you not say my liberation now? And I'm going to do everything I can for it to be now. So, yeah, and it's causing a lot. This is the thing, Nsiki. If we had that virus and we were living a healthy, thriving life, then there's no need to complain. But we are oppressed. We are exploited. We have mental issues. We have health issues. This is why we must fight it, because it's showing up in ways that are not conducive to the well-being of community.
And this depression, it almost seems like it's worldwide, you know? So why are we hanging on to the system that is keeping us depressed and in this crass materialism that is actually not familiar?
No. You have Africans chasing wealth when the system is set up to not get them wealth. So they are blaming themselves when really it's the system that's keeping them from getting wealth. I was talking to a friend yesterday. We were walking and we went by a house close to my town that is up for sale. It's up for sale for $1 million. And I said to myself, both of us don't have credit, and like, we don't have good finances, right? You don't have wealth sitting in the bank and all that. And I said to my friend, through my reading, I encountered a story, and I'm forgetting now which one it was. If I remember the book, I'll give you the title. There was a white couple that went to the bank to ask for a loan, a huge loan. They had horrible credit. They didn't have money to show for it, and they were given the loan. But a lot of Black people in the United States, they go even when they have good credit and they're denied loans because they're Black, and because the system is set up to deny them the opportunity to liberate themselves economically. So I said, if I'm thinking logically, you and I should be able to go to the bank and say, we want to buy this house for as much as it's being sold. We would like to ask you, the bank, to give us a loan of that plus the cost of redoing the house, because it's an old house, so that it can be modern. We fix everything, the insulation and all that. And we think we can sell it for this much. Can you get into this project with us and invest, and you'll get a percentage of the profit? Logically, a bank should say, yes, it's an opportunity to invest, right? But no, because they're helping you, Black couple, liberate yourself financially. No, they will not. And because banks are run by Jewish people, and yes, I will say that, banks are run by Jewish people, they'll say no.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit. You know, you are, were you born in Kenya? I don't know if you can give us a bit of a background and where you are, lead it up for us nicely.
I was born and raised in Kenya.
Mhm.
After my high school, I actually moved out of my parents' house. I had started working.
Were you like
Um,
at were you at one of the privileged schools?
I went to Precious Blood Kilungu in my village. It's a provincial school. So
Okay.
in Kenya, when you sit down for the high school examinations, you have three groups. You can get to national, provincial, and district level schools, and then you can, if your grades are lower than that, you go into like the local schools. So it's based on how you perform at your final examination. It's a
Oh
national
wow.
examination. So I did well enough to be accepted at a national school. Kenya High was where I was accepted. But I wanted to be home, close to home. So I went to the provincial school, which is back in
Mm-hmm.
my home area.
Got you.
Yes. And so and my family, like my mother, my father's sisters had all gone through that. So there was that legacy. I want to be in that school where my family has gone through. Finished school and moved out of my parents' house. I was working at a restaurant in Nairobi. It's called Green Corner Restaurant as a waitress. Was doing well there. Green Corner, they had a contract with the Kenya Airways lounges to offer the services. So we were serving. So I ended up being assigned there, working at the Kenya Airways lounges. And then because I was so good, or at least, I mean, this was through merit, they assigned me the first class lounge. And while I'm there serving with my nice cute skirt, my nice little figure, and my nice outfit, this white old man comes to me. He's impressed and he says to me, "Oh, would you like to work for me?" I said, "Oh, okay. How?" And he's offering more money. And so I ended up working. He was a manager, directing manager at Air Kenya in Wilson Airport. So I ended up moving there. And I was working there, living with a roommate, enjoying life, enjoying Kenya, having no need to go anywhere, like planning a future in Kenya. And I get a call from my dad, "Show up at the embassy tomorrow morning. You have an appointment." I'm like, "Huh? Yeah, your uncle got you a school. You have an appointment tomorrow." At 6 a.m., I showed up, I got the visa. And by the end of the weekend, I was in the United States.
That is wild.
Listen, this is the
So
life.
then, how does your upbringing and what's your political shaping? What's happening? Like, because I, you know what I'm saying.
Yes. So hey Joy, good to see you, Anjiko. So that's a comrade, that's a fellow sister.
Hi, Joy.
A fellow sister. Someone said to me, "Stop using the word comrade. It has no meaning. I like it has no depth like brother sister. Like brother sister ties us, and yes, that's our
Mm.
sister." Um, I was brought up Catholic. Then my name that I don't use is Joan. I always identified with Joan of Arc. I was always the I know, right? I was always that kid. I'm the first of 6 children. There we were three of us for like 7 years, myself and my brothers. I was always the one who fought for them. I was always the one who climbed the trees and got the fruits while they were down there waiting. Like I was that girl who was nothing is going to stop me. I'm always like one of the gentlemen who worked in our family called me Kawembe, which is razor blade, right? To show the sharpness and all that. So we're growing up, our grandpa had passed away. So you know the family legacy, right? So the Mulumba. But we're growing up being told all these great things about him. I'm not even going to tell you what he was until I get to the end because it's going to make sense. He was this, he did that, he did this. And so we are proud to be Mulumbas. This is our grandpa, right? Whose child are you? I am a Mulumba, right? This is our family. And then Kenya is amazing. We have those issues where I had my parents lose their job at an early age. I was 10, 11. So we're struggling financially, but the extended family has people with money. So we didn't really lack because when my parents couldn't do it, people in like my uncles, my aunts helped support our family. And so we have to move to the village because my parents have lost their jobs. And so we're staying with grandma in the village. I'm staying with relatives every now and then. So we are all over the place, but it's still like a lovely child upbringing. And then we're Catholic. I start questioning because now I'm going to boarding school. I start questioning Catholicism because now you're hearing the priest got someone pregnant. So and so has gotten pregnant by the priest. And then the priests are also coming to our home when we have parties and you see them getting drunk. I'm like, what the hell is all this? Yeah. So I start questioning Catholicism and Christianity. And I'm seeing in the village where I come from, people really, really suffer. Like you have women, children, no shoes, sweaters are torn. Yet when they go to the church, the priest is asking for, like sometimes they'll have a guest priest and they'll be like, oh, why don't we all raise some money for soda for the priest and gas? And I'm like, should that priest be raising money for the community that has nothing, right? So I start questioning Catholicism then, but I'm still a good child. I'm still a good family member, so I'm still involved in it. My mother gets born again, and I go to that for a bit, and I'm in some spaces speaking in tongues. Thinking,
We are not here to judge.
speaking in tongues, leading. I was always helping lead music in high school. Because it was Precious Blood Kilungu. It was a Catholic school. I was coordinating a lot of drama, doing the murals for all the plays. Like I was that person, leading in choreography, music, and all that. And at one point, we're getting ready to do the Our Father, but I chose the Serafina Our Father. That was me. So I chose the Serafina Our Father, and we had to present it to the nuns before it's actually the day so that they can approve. They were like, no, we're not doing this Our Father. So that was me from get. And so fast forward to, I get the call from my father, you're going to the United States. I'm in the United States. I get here. And I mean, there's no, no, but like the first snow was like, oh, wow, this is how snow looks like, right? My cousin and I are outside like eating it.
How old are you at this stage?
20.
Okay.
We're hanging out with Kenyans. There's a great community of Kenyans in New Jersey. So we didn't feel like we were away from home because we were in Kenyan communities, but you still are away from home, right? And you're at that age, you're enjoying, oh, I get good clothes, I get access to music, right? When I was growing up, my hairstyles were according to rap artists and R&B musicians. Like I had a Tony Braxton, I had a TLC. At one point it was blonde. Like I thought my hairstyles was always some Black American like hairstyle. So that I am attracted to. That I'm like, oh, I'm in the United States for all these reasons. And also like now I get to get a job where I can support my family and have some schooling. Fast forward, I get married. Fast forward, I'm because this whole time I'm like, at one point I was one of those people who believed that Black Americans are lazy. That divisive tactic. That divisive tactic. I was one of those people. I was like, look at them. Why are they not working hard? They have opportunity. If I was born here, I would have done this and that and that. That was me at one point. And because I'm not in those communities, I'm not understanding. I'm just looking at it from outside, right? And I'm looking at it from my perspective. My perspective is I've come here, I have good education, I have continued to pursue my education, I used my resume and I got a job. So why can't you? That was my perspective, right? And I've come all the way from Kenya. You were here this whole time. Why are you not getting the whole? I'm not understanding that the whole time while they're here, the system has actually blocked them from getting what I got, and it has opened it up for me, right? I'm not getting that yet. So I start working in the federal government. I'm not going to be specific which department, but I start working in the federal government and I start seeing the subtle racism in the system. Like the office I was working in, all the heads of office had been white males. They have like a wall where they put pictures. There was only 2 occasions. One of them was a white woman and a Hispanic man, but all of them white facing and male. And I said to myself, this is New York. In New York, where the demographic is, what is it? You've never had a Black man, forget even woman, a Black man lead in this office. So you start questioning things like that. And then there's microaggressions. There's many things happening where now I start seeing the United States for what it is, right? And then COVID happens and we are all, for the most part, staying home, right? I'm still working because my job was an essential job. I could not work. So I'm still working, but we are generally at home, right? No one is going to places. You're either at home or I'm heading to the job. And we start tuning into YouTube. And at that time, there was a YouTube, I'll call it session called In Class with Carr, right? This is Dr. Carr. Dr. Greg Carr is a professor at Howard University, a great, like, if you can ever get in touch with him, like, reach out to him, because he's a wealth of knowledge in Tsiki, and he looks beyond the borders of the United States. He's one who pushes for the us coming together. And so I start listening every Saturday, every week, to his videos, to his sessions, and I'm learning now American history, Black American history, one Ubuntu history in the United States. And at that time, George Floyd happens. Well, we're through the awakening, and then George Floyd happens. And I'm pissed, because we are all seeing this white man's face, and there's no remorse. And I'm pissed. And work is not the same. I'm no longer letting go of things that should not be let go of. I'm like, no, I'm fighting now. Moving forward, it's not going to be the same. I'm done with pretending. And that's when it starts. And I start reading. So Dr. Kai is recommending books. We are reading them together, and I'm starting to learn. And since then, I haven't looked back. I'm not going to look back until, even when I'm 6 feet under, I'll be haunting a lot of you to wake up. Like, I'll be that spirit who's like, what you doing? Get your behind up. We still don't have liberation. That is, if we still don't have liberation, I'll be that.
So
spirit.
what are the politics like in Kenya? You know how ignorant we are of each other's countries.
But it is the same. That's the irony, right? We are ignorant, but it's the same thing. Oh my God. So I don't know if you've read the book, The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Oh, you should read it. I'm gonna send you the book. So that's essentially what Africa is. Africa is under the mercy of the economic hitman, and the economic hitman is essentially individuals who've been recruited by the U.S. government, factions of the U.S. government, and their job is to expand the empire of the United States. That's simple terms. Their goal is to expand the empire of the United States. What they call it is look out for United States interests. This is what they call it in let's put our tie on and be civilized. They are looking out for United States interests, but literally they are conmen. Literally they are conmen who get African nations, South American nations to take loans that they know these nations will not be able to pay, so that they can be in debt, so that they can use that debt to get collateral, access to their resources, access to their governance, access to controlling everything. So colonialism, right? Neo-colonialism. This is the politics. This is the politics in Kenya. And in Kenya, we have an eager lot of puppets, literally waiting in line every time, because they get a little money, and in Kenyan shillings that is transferred to, they can get mansions, cars, bodyguards, eat in fancy restaurants. So that's their incentive. They want to live that life that is European, that is Western, showing that they have all these things on earth while being devoid of humanity. And they're very eager. And I'm telling you, they're waiting in line, because when a Ruto is gone, there'll be another one coming in. And as you know, the CIA is in the background doing all these operations. So in the economic hitman, John Perkins calls the CIA the jackals. There's the economic hitman, and then there's a jackal. So because they're nice, because the Mzungu is nice, because this is what they make us believe, because the Mzungu is nice, they send first the economic hitman to talk to us in a suit, to be nice to us and explain to us why it is necessary for us to build another bridge in Kenya, that their company from the United States will be the ones building. All right. Kenya says, let's say Kenya has a Thomas Sankara, Kenya has a Patrice Lumumba, which is what happened in these cases. Kenya has Nkrumah. Says, no, we're going to do it to ourselves. And we actually like this other company better than your United States company. So now the jackal comes in, the CIA comes in, and they plot the death of that individual. That's the politics.
Wow. Are you saying that, because, I've been wondering about this, are we as Black people just supposed to surrender to the fact that we are slaves? And
I'm saying no. But a lot of our culinary Black fellow brothers and sisters are saying yes, in a way that they don't realize that that's what they're saying yes to. That's the thing. A lot of them do not realize that that's what they're saying yes to, but they're literally saying yes to more decades of enslavement in a way. That's what they're saying. And which is why I say, why should we wait for liberation? Even more so after I saw Project 2025 that the conservatives in the United States have put out, right? They started thinking about this in the early 20s, and now they have it structured. And by next year, it's going to be in effect. They did not wait 30 years, Project 2030 Africa, Project 2060 Africa. No one made them. They were like, dude, okay, LGBTQ is taking over, because this is the fear they have, conservatives, right? Our population is reducing because of it. We have to stop that. Christianity has to come and control marriage between man and woman. We have to bring that back. China is a threat. We need to be in charge of trade. Our jobs are going. We have to fix it. So literally what we are saying, they were looking at their community and saying, we need to do something. But they did not say, let's wait. They're doing it right away, and it's going into effect next year. So I'm sitting around and looking at my people. What is wrong with us? Why are we not putting out a project 2024 and putting it into effect? Whatever we can put into effect, right?
What do the elections mean to Africans, especially since you guys are exactly, yeah, let's get into that. I mean, besides being part of parroting what the grown-up people are saying at the table.
Do you know what my notice I'm not sitting at the table with the grown-up people. I took my food and went to the bedroom. No, so my fantasy, my best case scenario, if I had control today, would be to awaken all our ancestors, awaken them now. Like, I would wait for the hour of the ancestors, you know what time that is, do my ritual and call upon them. And in the morning when the sun rises, we're all ready. We are all on the front line. And we would push. We're not even going to kill them. Like, if they get in the way, we are killing them. I'm sorry, we are, right? But we would push these invaders, whoever they are, push them back to their homes and secure our continent and our people who are outside the continent, literally with a spiritual guard, secure them, and then start fixing. That would be my best case scenario. And then we start fixing, returning to the way of Ubuntu, returning to permaculture, returning to being in touch with nature. That would be my best case scenario. That's what I think we need to do. So now, coming from that fantasy, now let's sit down and be realistic. How can we realistically achieve that?
But now I want to go back to this American thingies, because the thing is that the clever blacks make it so important for us to know Trump, Biden, what. What does Trump winning mean for us black people?
I didn't even answer your question, Siki. You asked what elections mean. I didn't even answer your question. I realize now. Elections don't mean shit. Excuse my language. Allow me to be plain today. Elections do not mean shit. Like, Kenyans were sitting talking about Trump is the better president for Kenya. I was so frustrated. I'm like, it doesn't matter. The system of the United States is meant to do this. It doesn't matter who's sitting there. They are going to pursue those interests. And if they don't, like John F. Kennedy, like what's his name, Lincoln, they'll get a bullet through their brains. That is as simple as that.
Girl, even can you speak nicely? YouTube. Speak nicely.
But this is so. See how you said speak nicely? I am speaking nicely, but now you're telling me, given YouTube, okay, speak according to YouTube's interests, right?
Yes, yes.
They'll be taken out. Is that a better one?
Yeah. They'll go meet their ancestors.
But look at the gymnastics. They'll go meet their ancestors. That was a nice flippity flip, Nsiki. Thank you for teaching me how to do that somersault. When they do not follow protocol, when they do not follow the interests, they meet their ancestors through their own hands, the hands of their own people. So it is about maintaining that system. And it's not the president who runs it. It's the money people behind it. It's the banks behind it. It's the Walmarts. Those are the people who run it. It's the Bill Gates. It's the Elon Musk. And now they're not even hiding, because you see Elon Musk now outrightly supporting Trump. So now they're not even hiding that they're the ones in control.
So then what does that mean for Black people?
It means that you all need to wake up. You all need to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. You all need to get the cure for that virus, get the virus out of you, and return to Afrocentrism. It means you need to sit down as a collective. We need to unite across borders, and we need to figure out how we are going to fight this. We need to sit down and write our own project 2025 from our perspective that is African grounded and put it into effect immediately. That's what that means. We need to stop trying to make things better through the system. There's no way you will be liberated through the oppressor's system. It has to be outside of the system. And the goal has to be to take down the system, at least as far as we are concerned. So if the United States wants to continue with the system within the United States, we make sure our people are protected, but on the motherland, it's a new system.
I think people are always stuck on the how.
What do you mean the how? Like, it's so simple, it's annoying that people are stuck on the how. Because Thomas Sankara did it. Traore is doing it now. Like, it's been done. That's why it's so annoying. It has been done. And when it was done, it showed positive results. In 4 years, Thomas Sankara was able to change his country. 4 years, they went from illiteracy amongst women to educated women. In 4 years, they were able to build railroads. They were able to produce food. Burkina Faso was doing well. 4 years. It took Nkrumah 10 years. Like, a lot of the stuff in Ghana that we celebrate and we're like, oh, look at how developed Nkrumah in 10 years. So it's been done before, and I don't know why we're sitting here asking how.
I hear you. It's just that we are cowards then. That's what you're
We are
saying.
cowards. We are cowards. And not just cowards. We are zombies who've been lied to by this light that shows us the luxury of, we've become materialistic. We associate more importance in, this is, I want to have a nice car. I've worked so hard for this house. I've worked so hard for this life. I am entitled to this life. I deserve it. I've worked so hard. We are so caught up on that and not look at my people. They are suffering, right? I cannot enjoy this while my people are suffering. I cannot. And when you realize you cannot, you're like, I said yesterday on Kumbukeni, none of us revolutionaries should buy a car more than $30,000. And I'm looking at the prices of cars right now. I can get a nice Mazda CX-30 for 20 something, a nice one, a really, really nice one with fake leather seats. You know why fake leather seats? Because when the children spill something, you don't have to worry. You can just wipe it off. This is why it's not just luxury; it's practical. But you can get a nice, decent SUV for your family for less than 30,000. Why are you spending more than 30,000? Then that extra money, you put it towards the movement, because the movement needs finances to continue and for us all to be liberated. But a lot of us are not thinking like that. Why are you buying? I see these Africans posting beautiful weddings and someone is wearing 6 dresses. Why? Why do you need 6 dresses for one wedding? Why? Why? And why even one dress do you need one for 1,000? Why? Why can't you go to the tailor and ask them, make me a wedding dress? Why does it have to be that? Why does it have to be from this designer in France for this much when your people are suffering? Like, we have to stop and ask ourselves this. Why do I need red bottoms that cost so much while they're giving me corns on my feet? Yeah? Instead of buying a nice simple pair of shoes, I have this rule, I'm not paying more than $100 for shoes, right? And that to open up for winter boots because they're more expensive. But we are spending, you have people. I had a friend. So I went to visit a friend and I had a bag that was torn, a pocketbook. And I had sewn the bag because I have sewing skills. And my friend said to me, you sewed this bag? Nduku, I'm going to get you a birthday gift, a Coach bag for your birthday. $3,000. Me, Nduku, carry a $3,000 bag. I said to my friend, just give me that $3,000. I can go buy land in Kenya. Because that's what you would get instead of that bag. Land in Kenya, more than an acre to grow food with $3,000. And instead of that, our African people are buying a Coach bag. Hey, this big Coach bag, $3,000. This is our mindset.
You're impoverished, eh? And what's fascinating is that the white community has built these brands the Louis Vuittons, the Chanels, and put them in that target market, that high end target market. And we are feeding into that instead of creating high end, high target, higher target market black brands.
But when you look at majority wealthy, like generational wealthy white people, they don't carry coach bags. They don't wear red bottoms. Some of them, you see them, they look like hobos. Seriously. And they have land here, land there, land there, land there. And we are the ones who've been lied to that that's success. And we are falling like zombies without thinking. The people who created this, they're very few, honestly, when you look at the majority, like if you're looking globally at percentages of human beings, very few human beings value that as far as white people, the fancy bag, and they don't have humanity, is what I'm saying. Even the way you see in fashion, the way they treat people, the way they talk to people, in music, the way they talk to people. You've heard about the industry. It is a lack of humanity. And this is what we are craving for, to be treated like trash. Instead of, I take my $3,000 from my friend, if she does decide to give it to me, I buy 5 acres of land in Kenya. We build, I bring community members. We have a space where there's extra building in case some brothers and sisters from the US, from the Caribbean want to return and they don't have a place. I'll be like, Nduku has a place, come, you can build a small place there. We're growing our own food. We have solar, we have biogas, we are teaching the farmers around us how to grow and preserve our original seeds. To me right now, Nsiki, that is a much more wealthy state of being than to carry coach bags and wear red bottoms.
How do we change the consciousness of the people, though, to move from seeing wealth? Because right now they see wealth as, you can see the Instagram baddie, with the weave.
Oh, that's
And
another thing. You know what? Let's talk about that, please, if you don't mind.
please, with
Because
pleasure.
you know what? I like my African women. Let me just make it clear. I'm not saying this to be shady. I'm not saying this to be popular. I'm saying this because we have a disease and it must be, because it's infecting all of us, right? If it's not infecting me because I have decided to go back to my natural, it's going to infect my child. And I see this. I remember my daughter, because she was in a predominantly white school, came home and wanted so much when she was younger to straighten her hair, right? She wanted to straighten her hair. And now she tells me as a teenager, I was losing my mind. I was doing that because of my classmates, right? My fellow. So if we're walking around with weaves, and some of them look horrible, that's me being shady. That's besides the point. If we're walking around with weaves, this is what we are teaching our young children. So my daughter will be at risk of following you even when I'm trying to teach her well. So it affects all of us. It's not just you making your choice. Oh, I have the right to choose what I wear. This whole nonsense that is so Western. I have a right to be who I am. No, you have a right to act accordingly to ensure the well-being of your community while enjoying your individuality, right? You can be who you are, but if who you are is affecting the well-being of community, you need to sit back and check yourself and act accordingly. That's it. No one is telling you don't be Nduku, but make sure that Nduku, and this is something I'm coming to realization at an older age. This is not how I was operating younger. When I was younger, I was just, like I said, what is Tony Braxton's haircut? There we go. I'm going to get my nails done and all that. I was just enjoying life. I wasn't thinking deeply. And a lot of us are just doing that. Remind me again the question, Siki, sorry.
We're talking about fake hair and the
Fake
impact of
hair,
having.
right? We need, ask, if you truly sit with yourself, my sisters, and ask yourself why you're covering your hair. Forget about it's easy to maintain, because guess what easy to maintain is? Locks. That's what easy to maintain. You can wash them any day, every day. You can, I retwist mine myself. That's easy to maintain. Weaves are not easy to maintain. They smell. You can't clean them. They smell. They itch. So there's more disadvantages to a weave than there are advantages, and they're breaking your hair in the meantime. And the biggest negative is that you're literally covering your African self. You're saying, what is under here, I don't want to show. I prefer putting this on. So I don't care how offended you are, Black women that I'm talking about weaves and fake nails. That's another one, fake nails. Like, I don't want to eat your food if your nails are this long. I truly don't want to eat your food.
Disgusting, man. It's disgusting.
Because my question is, how are you going to the bathroom and wiping your behind? And have you cleaned it all before you come and cut the food that you're going to make me?
It's so disgusting.
We were taught from a young age in Siki, in
Ugh.
home science, to cut our nails because they collect dirt underneath. And now
Ugh.
our thing is,
Ach, nee, man. Ach, nee, man. It's not right. I'm not okay. I don't know. And it's so, what's so sad for me is that when women of other races wake up in the morning, they wake up as the standard. We still have to work towards the standard of beauty. It's just so sad,
so you wake up with your natural hair, right? You have, let's say you did cornrows, and you wake up and you go to the mirror and you look at it and you say, okay. Then you go to the weave closet and get your weave and put it on. And you're like, much better. And then you go ahead and put 1 layer, 2 layers, and 3 layers of foundation. And then you go ahead and do whatever it is you're doing. And you go ahead. Now they teach you how you can do the darker to make your nose narrower.
I know.
And you think that's okay. And we think that's okay.
Tell them, Nduku, tell them.
I'm just saying, we think that's
in
okay.
their corner.
If you look at the white women and how they're moving with it, that's when you see the dysfunction in it. If you walk in New York City and see all the fish lips and the bats that do not need to be, like, you're walking and someone is in front of you and you stop and, is that real or not real? Like, I know I have a big behind. It should not look like that, right? When you see that, that's when you realize the dysfunction level of, if we don't say something about it, how it could go.
Shit. What's wrong with human beings, hey? What the hell is going on with human beings?
Capitalism, because beauty standards, capitalism. They want to sell something, right? The way the big capitalism. Something is being sold, someone has to buy it. Profit. Capitalism is the dysfunction. Because capitalism also says, if we're going to have a party, you need to be able to fit in. This is the beauty standard. If you're going to fit in, you need to look like this. Like, if today Nduku went with my African jacket, nice jeans, and some winter boots to a club in Manhattan, there's a very high chance, and my dreadlocks like this, I'll be told I can't go in. Yeah, because you're going to make our club look bad. The men are going to stop coming here if they see women like you coming here. We're going to lose business. Capitalism.
Wow. So there's no economic value to looking like yourself. Looking black.
Currently, there isn't. Under
but
the capitalist system.
There's social capital attached to having a weave.
If I walk in an office today with my dreadlocks and I have the same resume, I'm talking about a white-owned office, I have the same resume, I have the same mannerisms, speaking and everything with a black woman, same tone of skin too, let's make it that. Everything the same, the only difference is my dreadlocks. I come in with an African attire suit, and she comes in, straight hair, good makeup, all that, and a nice Western outfit. She's going to get the job.
So that's why I was asking you, does then that mean that black people must just roll over and accept defeat? Because if we are not going to get employed the way we look, or if we don't have any control of the system, then we're just wasting energy on fighting back.
But we do have control of the system. One of the ways, remind me to talk about the analogy of the Masai Mara River, right? The Mara River. We do have control of the system. One of the ways we have control of the system is we are the labor. We are the labor. Without us, they're not making shit. Like, nothing is happening. We're the labor. So if we take away the labor, they're at our mercy. The other thing too is we are the biggest consumers in this system. We are the biggest consumers. If we stop consuming, they're again at our mercy.
Yeah.
So if China has no market in Africa, China does not have the economy it has. And
Yeah.
every other nation that has a market in Africa, if they don't have that market, they don't have the economy they have. Because economics is not just about making products. The products have to be bought so that you can cycle, right? You spend this much to get products in order to recover how much you spent and more. The products have to be sold. So if the people are not buying the products, your economy is trash. So we do have control of the system. We just don't realize that we do it, and we are not taking the power of that control to liberate ourselves and to make the system ours. So the thing you were saying, whether we should lie down, I'm going back to the analogy of the Mara River.
Okay.
The animals, let's say it's the season where they're in Tanzania. It happens, the migration happens around July. And the food in Tanzania is getting finished. They don't have it. Those animals could say, oh, there's no more food. Let's lie down and wait for the sun to kill us. And they lie down. Literally, that's what you're asking, right? Whether we should just give up. They lie down and they get killed. They go through the pain of getting killed. Either way, there's pain. Either way, there's pain. Pain is not removed. Pain is the constant in the equation. On both equations, pain is the constant. How much of it and how long is the difference? How long, more importantly, is the difference? So they decide they're going to die at slow death, where on the Tanzania side, instead of crossing the Mara River, which has crocodiles, there goes the pain, constant, the pain, to get to the good side. The crocodiles, they might get eaten, they might not. A lot of them make it through to the other side where there's plenty of food. And they do this over and over. These animals never sit down and say, we're going to accept death. They cross that crocodile-infested river every year to get to the food. So we who claim to be more intelligent, why are we not willing to cross our crocodile-infested river to liberation? And that, by the way, the crossing of that river happens in seconds. The pain is in seconds. In that choice, pain is in seconds. The choice of lying down and dying on the Tanzania side with the sun, that's going to take days, weeks, months. This one is seconds. The pain is seconds. We choose the long death.
What do you think of the exclusion of women in politics? Because that's a big one right now, and it's
especially in the United States, right? We should call out the United States for that. They talk about women's rights. Be quiet, United States, at the next UN meeting. The next time, if you know these United States people, Wazungu should just thank God that Nduku is not a leader anywhere in Africa, because you all would be living in fragility 24/7. Like, you'd be crying. I'd be having tissues waiting for you at the door when you come for meetings, because I know you'll be crying. Because why am I saying, I'm not just saying that, I mean, I'm bringing humor, because life is stressful and we have to find humor even when we are talking. But can you imagine the United States having never had a woman as a president coming to sit in Kenya and telling you, we are here to talk about women's rights? Like, how do you even have the right to sit here and say that to me? Until you have a woman president, this is what the Kenyan people should say. Listen, John, Henry, and Clark, until you have a woman president in your country, you're not going to talk to us about human rights anymore. You're not. Until we do not see all the Black women that are being shot by police in the United States, being dragged by their fake hair, their weaves, being pulled by their braids, you are not going to talk to us about human rights. Until we stop hearing of the raping of women, especially if you find out what happens in the United States women's prisons, the United States has no moral ground to talk about women's rights anywhere. Anywhere. Like, I don't know why anyone sits and listens to the United States telling them anything about morality. We should all be like, shut up, go back where you came from. We got this.
What's the life like for an African then in the States?
This is life. The pain you hear in my voice as I talk about it is the life of an African. And mine, remember I said to you, I came here thinking Black Americans are lazy. Mine is not even as painful as theirs. Mine is not even like when you now talk about epigenetics, the trauma that is passed through generations. Mine is not even as deep as theirs. So for that answer, I'm just going to talk from outside looking in, but I can never give you the true answer of that because I don't have that lived experience, right? Their pain is much greater than what you hear in my voice. Much, much greater. Much greater. And it's a constant not being yourself, constant even when you're not being yourself and doing your best, still being devalued because you're Black. I'm telling you, the job where I was, I did what I did for them to fire me so that I could get unemployment, because that's another rule here. If you quit yourself, you don't get unemployment. So you have to be fired to get unemployment. Yes, if you decide I'm quitting, you don't get unemployment. So I withstood the trauma and the pain of being in that space for 3 years until they decided we're letting you go to get unemployment, because I needed to survive for a few months. But it is a constant. I've had fibroids, right, since I was 23. It's the reason I decided to start having children younger. They were diagnosed somewhere when I was 26, 27 or something. But they were in centimeters. And I was able to have them in centimeters. And if you know, for those of you who know fibroids, they're fed by stress. They're fed by the hormones that come from stress, right? And so for more than 14 years, I was able to keep them at that centimeter level. Working in the place where I was working with the microaggression, experiencing the racism that I was experiencing in 2 years. I'm sorry, it wasn't even 2 years. In a year, they grew significantly to the point where my belly, the lower part, was bulging. That's how big they became. And they became a problem, right? You have excessive bleeding, you have pain and all that. You know, if for those of you who know about fibroids. Because of the stress at my place of work, I had to get 2 procedures to get rid of fibroids. That's what the life is. And mine is not even close to what they go through, those who are descendants of enslaved Africans in the United States.
So much like how it plays out with colonialism this side, they in townships essentially and concentration camps.
What do you mean colonialism this side? The United States of America is a colonial entity. It is a colonial state. They came from Britain. They invaded a land that was not theirs. They took over and they built a governance structure that is theirs, that overruled the people who lived there. Colonialism. It has been colonialism from then to this day. It is a colonial state. This land doesn't belong to them. And no matter how much they say it, it doesn't belong to them.
When you say, why should we wait for liberation, what should we do?
We need to do what a lot of us are doing. Say, to hell with it. We don't care what you think, white man. We're liberating ourselves. We need to say no to the IMF. We need to say no to the World Bank. We need to do what Thomas Sankara did and more. What Nkrumah did and more. We need to unite, like they said. All nations, 54 nations of Africa, need to unite and build a federated, an amalgamated one nation that is moving together politically, economically, education, one system that will stand and fight these people. And with an agreement where this is how we are moving, Kenya cannot move against what we've agreed. Just like it's sad to say this, it needs to be better than the United States, because I always say the Federation of the United States is a whole confusion there. The states have too many rights anyway, that almost sometimes the federal part of it is almost like insignificant when you think about the states' rights. So we need to make sure that we come together from Brazil, from Haiti, all of us see ourselves as one, build a new structure that is grounded in Afrocentrism, get our sovereignty, get our self-governance, and say no, and a strong no to all outside interference. We need to control our resources. We're going to determine the price. We're going to have one currency. We determine the value based on how it's serving our people, not based on what Wall Street says the value is. No, we need to get to a place where they have no input in how we move. We're controlling it. And they're just, yes, do you accept? Yes. Do not accept? No. Good. Let's talk to China. China, do you accept? Yes. Okay, these are the terms. And if all of you don't accept, goodbye. We're doing our business until you realize that you need us, because they need us.
Mm.
That's what we need to do. But like I said,
I'm looking at your name here, Nduku. In my language, it's Xhosa. Nduku is a stick. So I'm busy wondering what it means in your language.
I was told by someone apparently it's a weapon, right?
Yes, a
Um,
stick. Yes.
yeah. So in my language, Otuko is night. So a female child born at night is Nduko. But I was named after my father's my my paternal grandmother's mother is where that name comes from, but it's night. But listen, because I am African, because I am a Mwana Ubuntu, I'll take the Southern African meaning too, because I am a weapon. I am a weapon for
Yeah.
my people. Uh, I am a weapon for the liberation of our people. And I am not ashamed to say that. I am fighting the system that oppresses us. I am truly not ashamed to say that. And it's not about bragging rights. It's not about what is wrong. It's like, what is wrong with you that you're not doing that? You who's questioning why I'm saying this, what is wrong with you that you're not doing that while your people are being raped, while your resources are being taken, while you have no control of anything? You're being given vaccines that are destroying your populations. Why are you not a weapon for your people?
Mm. The other day we had you on a panel and you were quite triggered. Um
You are so shady, Nsiki.
I'm just saying, So I want to know, where do you think the disconnect is?
Remind me what the
Um,
trigger was, or remind the audience what the trigger was.
no. But I want to say that there seems to be a disconnect in the understanding of what African spirituality is.
The person who was defending what they were defending is grounded in capitalism. And you could hear in the way she was talking, everything she was saying was capitalist. Like you can just see the professor standing there and telling her, and she's repeating it. And unfortunately, a lot of times that's who you find. It's not even like capitalism is becoming more of a problem than Christianity. I dare say that, honestly. They are more willing to defend capitalism than they are to defend. Like someone said to me, an African woman said to me when I said to her, because she called me, she said, "Oh, I heard you speaking. You're a spirit sister. Oh, you took me back to my revolutionary days." And as we are talking, I tell her I'm anti-capitalist, and she pauses. She's like, "Well, I can't give up my shoes." And I was like, "For real?"
Mm,
Insecure.
mm,
So capitalism is becoming more of a problem than Christianity because Africans are starting to question, why am I praying to a white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus? Like they're starting to question that, but they've
mm,
not started questioning capitalism.
they
Yeah.
haven't.
Mm-mm. They're still like, I have people in my family talking about sending me videos of how this is to how to get wealth. When you look at the person that's telling you this is how to get wealth, their wealth already is like huge. So when they tell you they invest in gold, you're not stopping to think, oh, do I have the money to buy gold? Oh, wait, when I buy the gold, where am I going to keep it? Do I have the house and the safe to keep it? Like you're not even thinking that the person who's telling you this is how to grow wealth already has the resources required to grow wealth. And this is what you're sending to me. On that day, I did not have grace. I responded quite harshly to the person because I'm like, I'm fed up. I'm fed up. We do not see how much wealth we have in just simple, this is my land. This is the simple home I have. It has no leaks. Look at how natural it is. It is so beautiful. I wake up, I hear the birds, I hear the cows. I am walking down the valley. The grass is green. You can tell when the rain is coming. Like if you do not see that as more wealth than your whatever life this is that we have come to hold on, to me that is what wealth is. I was saying to you before we came on, Nsiki, I envy you when I see you dipping yourself in the water, right? It is winter here now, and most of what I'm surrounded by is concrete. There's no water for me to dip myself in,
Mm,
right? Back at home, you just walk to the valley and there's water. If you don't see that as wealth, I don't know. Sit back and now you need to
no.
go talk to your shrink. Say, I heard Nduku talking, shrink. By the way, if she's white, just don't even bother. You need to get a new shrink if you're a black person. I'm not kidding. This is no joke. If you're a
Mm,
black person and you're going through stuff, get a black shrink, and they must be grounded in some form of Afrocentrism, because you're increasing your trauma by having a white person as your psychologist. I'm sorry, I'm being honest with you. Especially given what we've talked about, for you to have a white person telling you how to heal your mental health, you're adding the trauma to you.
Yes. What about these kinds of politicians that this Mash is saying, the ones who pretend to be against whites and capitalism, but they fake revolutionaries actually, because
I have names. I have a list. I could name it now. Not just like I have a list. Every time like those who interact with me personally, I'm like, immediately they send me a name. I'm like, fake revolutionary. They're the worst.
yeah.
Right? They're the worst. Because, for example, when Ruto was coming into presidency, I had brothers and sisters, descendants of enslaved Africans within the United States, telling me, "Oh, this guy looks good. This guy." I grew up in Kenya, so I know Ruto is not good. I was there when he was being indicted and had charges against him, serious charges against humanity, against him. So I know Ruto is not good. But the Black American brother and sister is only seeing Ruto in videos where he's apparently talking against capitalism, against imperialism. But no, Ruto has been told by the imperialist to say so much, to seem like he's against it, but he's helping the imperialist build empire. This is the best tactic that the imperialist has, to make it seem like they are for you. Well, like if you read the Project 2025 and you don't understand the context, you'll think, oh, what's wrong with Republicans? Which is probably why Black people voted for them, because they just read Project 25 without seeing context. But if you read it understanding what Christianity is and the history of Christianity, if you read it understanding what America was, they're saying they want to go back to it, and what the context is there, then you see it for something completely different and you realize the danger in it. Context is everything. Like, you can't just take anything for face value.
Jesus. I want to extend the mic to people in the comment section. I'm sure you guys have got questions for Nduku. But yeah, hey, we are.
I get to talk to the people.
Yep.
Nice.
They've been chatting.
Nice.
They've been chatting, but I don't know if you guys want to have any direct.
That's one of the pleasures, Nziki. That's one of the pleasures of being Afrocentric. Like, you literally get pleasure from being around your people. You'll see me walking in Brooklyn with a smile. Like, just, you're like, what is wrong with this fool? Why is she so happy? Because I'm seeing Black people everywhere. When I went to Kenya in March and I came back, and I went to the subway and I was the only one, and white people, I was like, why the fuck am I, excuse my language, why am I in Whitehaven right now? Like, I need to go back home where everyone is Black. I'm speaking Kiubuntu, I'm speaking Kikamba, I'm saying hello in Kikuyu because I know some Luo. Listen, I want to be around my people.
Yeah, I see all these kids.
Who's Flavian Dynasty? Sorry.
I know this is part of history. It's there.
Teach me, because I'm also being told I can learn. What is Flavian Dynasty? This I don't know. Teach me.
Prudy's got an assignment now for us. To give us a lesson on what the Flavian Dynasty is. Flip, there's always learning going on here. There's always learning going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is burning. Is there anything burning on your side?
I'm looking at the chat. Juanita, like, God bless you. You have experienced that. And that's what it takes, right? Get over your fear and travel to the motherland. You will not believe what pleasure you will get from being there. Good for you, Juanita. Continue enjoying her. She's there for you. The history of Greeks, yeah, those are some special people. Those are the people who also bring, I'm not going to try and invent sodomy. Yeah, the Greeks are special. Abuse of young boys, that's Greeks right there. Extend our vision to the longer term. Capitalism. Yes, I agree with you. Campaign Africa. I hope you're not CIA entity that is posing as they are with us, but I agree with you. I mean, this is what the CIA does, right? It builds a lot of Pan-African organizations and funds them. This is what they do.
Yep.
It has the name Africa, but it has nothing to do with Africa.
Yep. Detail alternative to capitalism. Oh, they're asking
Detailed. Who
what?
told you need detail? The white man who you live with is the one who told you need a detail. There's no need for details. You just need to know that it's not good for your people. You do not need to have detailed
Exactly.
alternative for you to know something is not good for you.
Exactly.
If I have been drinking and I am noticing my health is bad and I go to the doctor and the doctor said this drinking is not good for you, do you sit there and ask your doctor, so what detailed plan do you have for me?
Yeah.
Huh? No, the doctor is telling you stop drinking. You'll go home and you'll throw away all the bottles and you'll stop. And whatever you do next that is going to build you, you do. So don't be asking about detailed alternative to capitalism. All right, brother, let me
Oh,
amuse.
yes. Campaign Africa, going back to that. What did your grandfather do? Because he didn't tell us in the
Oh,
age.
they remembered Campaign Africa. You is shady. My grandfather was a chief in the colonial government.
Ah, are you serious? That is so interesting.
My grandfather was a chief in the colonial government and an agriculturalist before that in the colonial government. Well respected by the Mzungu.
You know I don't want to comment, right?
You can comment. We need to comment. It's the only way we are going to heal ourselves. You have to comment. It is your duty to comment.
God. You're the descendant of a sellout, babe.
And I think it was Mama Kanyisile, or who are we sitting with, who said we have to go back and learn what our descendants have done that is harming our community. So I need to sit and do a ritual so that I can make amends for my grandfather.
Yeah.
I need to do that, which is why it needs to be questioned. Because if you're not questioned and you realize that it is wrong, you cannot do that ritual. You cannot heal your ancestry. So yes, my grandfather was cooperating with the colonial government. And they loved him. I went to the archives and they had like records. Yeah.
Yo, that's deep, eh? I don't know if you've been checking out the Botswana elections.
Through a friend. I'll say through a friend.
So they're asking if you got any views.
No, I haven't been that deeply involved in them. See, so and it goes back to the question with Siki. I'm just not entertaining anything that is not get rid of imperialism and capitalism. Like everything else is a waste of time and waste of my time, which is limited. So when I'm on this earth, I'm focusing, my main is the root cause of the problem. The election in Botswana is not the root cause of the problem. It's just a symptom of the root cause of the problem. So if you're not addressing the root cause of the problem because of my mental well-being, I'm kind of putting you on the side because I can only focus on so much.
But we have no power, Nduku. We have no power.
That's exactly what I'm saying, Tiki. And until you say, white man, get out, you'll have no power. So if you're not saying that, please stop bothering Nduku. She got things to do.
Yeah.
It's yes, like and Mbegani, like I said, we're not perfect. We all have some shit to clear.
We all have sellouts in our bloodstream, definitely. Some of us are in this generation I've got sellout.
But the difference, Nsiki, is I'm not out here saying, why are you saying bad things about my grandfather? He was a respectable man. No. That's the difference. You have to call it out. Whether it's aligned to you or not, you have to say, this is my role in this. Like, come on. Because that's the only way we are fixing it.
That's so interesting because actually here, there is somebody like that, without mentioning any names, whose grandfather also is like a sellout. But if you mention it, he sends legal letters and stuff. So it's so deep when you're saying, why doesn't he just take ownership of...
And he doesn't realize that he's letting down that grandfather, because that grandfather is somewhere with the ancestors all looking at him sideways and saying, you're a sellout. And this son does not realize that it takes him to do a ritual to make sure that the grandfather is not being given the side by the other ancestors, so that he's welcomed by the other ancestors. Like, he doesn't even realize he's... I can't.
Yo, look at Ants. Ants is so traumatized.
You know what, Ants? On top of my grandfather being the chief, he literally traveled miles with the priest and brought him to where they're settled now. So yes. We got trauma to heal in our families.
You guys are house niggering each other out.
I swear. Not us, our grandfather. Come on now, Tiki. We are African warriors.
Oh my gosh. Hey, it's
but
intense. We've
but
got a lot to work through,
but
eh?
through ancestry, us. So we need to do the work to heal that and to make amends for it. And this work of fighting the colonialists, the imperialists, is that healing. Yeah, that is that healing.
I hope Anne remembers that.
Yes, and that means you need to sign up for the revolution. You have no choice. Your grandfather left you with a heavy debt.
Me and you have the same story. I'd like to tell you more about it.
Nsiki, why are you laughing at other people's trauma?
It's because it was so dramatic.
Oh, I have to leave. I didn't even realize we've been having such a good time for
I know,
need to
yes.
leave.
I was about to say thank you so much for your time.
Oh my God.
We spent such a great time with you, you know.
What do you mean African disunity must stop? What are we saying, Prudy?
Oh, African disunity
Must stop. Yes.
Yes. It's not our mother tongue, this one. This English is not our but
Kenyans,
thank you, Nduku.
Kenyans usually say English is not Englishing today. I have run out of English bundles.
And we don't owe it. We don't owe it anything. So
We don't.
So thank you.
If we're going to touch anyone today, let me say this. First of all, become a revolutionary. That's one. That one goes without saying. But if today one sister said, I'm done with the weaves and the fake nails, we've done a good job today.
Oh, God, I wish. I've been doing that one for 20 years. It's not working. Look at Anne saying, I even got a letter he wrote to church.
And you know what? I want to please share with them my WhatsApp. Please share with them my WhatsApp. Just go
damn. Thank you so much.
Listen,
Anne's like, okay, I'm purging here. I need to take everything, let everybody know.
This is where I'm going to part ways with Anne's. Mine didn't write the letter to them, Zungu. Mine was helping in the community. He was buying bags of rice and wheat for the community. He was using the system to help his people.
And I hope that you have gotten enough off your chest. We're about to end off the stream now.
Tell him to go do a ritual. In all seriousness, go do a ritual and make amends for your great grandfather. And then start doing things that are good for community. Thank you so much, Nchiki.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you.